IELTS Speaking Part 1. Celebrities. Question 1. Do you know any celebrities? Model answer. Band 6 answer. Yes, I know some celebrities. For example, I know about singers and actors in Japan, like Hikaru Utada. Band 7 answer. Yes, I know a few celebrities. For example, I know about Hikaru Utada, who is a famous Japanese singer. She is very popular and her songs are played everywhere, so I have learned about her from TV and the internet. Band 8 answer. Yes, I know several celebrities, especially in Japan. One of them is Hikaru Utada, who is an iconic Japanese singer and songwriter. I admire her because her music is not only popular but also deeply emotional, and I think she represents Japanese pop culture very well. Question 2. Which celebrity do you know the most about? Model answer. Band 6 answer. I know the most about Hikaru Utada. I listen to her music a lot. Band 7 answer. The celebrity I know the most about is Hikaru Utada. I've followed her music for many years, and I often read interviews about her life. I know she grew up in both Japan and the US, so she has a unique style. Band 8 answer. The celebrity I know the most about is Hikaru Utada. I've listened to her music since I was a teenager, and I've also watched many of her interviews. I find her background fascinating, because she grew up in both Japan and the United States, which explains why her music blends Western and Japanese influences so well. Question 3. Are there any celebrities you would like to meet? Model answer. Band 6 answer. Yes, I would like to meet Hikaru Utada. I think it would be exciting. Band 7 answer. Yes, I would really like to meet Hikaru Utada. I want to tell her how much I enjoy her music and how it has helped me relax. Meeting her would be a special experience. Band 8 answer. Yes, I would definitely like to meet Hikaru Utada in person. I would love to thank her for creating music that has inspired me for so many years. I think meeting her would not only be exciting but also meaningful, because her songs have been part of my life during both happy and difficult times. Question 4. Who is the most famous person in your country? Model answer. Band 6 answer. In Japan, I think the most famous person is Shohei Ohtani. He is a baseball player. Band 7 answer. In Japan, I think the most famous person now is Shohei Ohtani. He is a very successful baseball player who plays in the United States. Many people admire him for his talent and hard work. Band 8 answer. In Japan, the most famous person at the moment is probably Shohei Ohtani. He is not only an outstanding baseball player in Major League Baseball, but also a role model for young people in Japan. His international success has made many Japanese proud, and he represents the country in a very positive way. IELTS Speaking Part 2. Misbehaving Children. Describe a time you saw children behave badly in public. You should say where it was, what the children were doing, how others reacted to it, and explain how you felt about it. You have 1 minute to prepare. You have 2 minutes to talk. Model answer. Band 6 answer. One time, I saw some children behaving badly in a shopping mall. It was in Tokyo, and the kids were running around inside a clothing store. The children were shouting loudly and touching many clothes. Some of them were even hiding behind the racks and pushing each other. Their parents were nearby but didn't really stop them. Other people in the store looked very annoyed. I also felt uncomfortable because the atmosphere became noisy. I thought the parents should have told the children to calm down. Band 7 answer. I remember a time when I saw children misbehaving in a shopping mall in Tokyo. I was visiting a clothing store, and suddenly a group of kids started running around. They were yelling and laughing very loudly, and some of them were pulling clothes off the racks. A few kids even tried to play hide and seek inside the shop, which made the store look very messy. Surprisingly, their parents didn't do much to control them. Other shoppers were clearly uncomfortable. Some people frowned, and a few even left the store quickly because they didn't want to deal with the noise. The staff also looked a bit stressed, because they had to pick up the clothes from the floor. I personally felt quite irritated. I think children should be taught how to behave properly in public, because it's important to respect other people. Seeing this made me realize how much parents' guidance matters. Band 8 answer. One particular time I remember clearly was when I was in a shopping mall in Shibuya, Tokyo. I was browsing in a popular clothing store, and a group of children suddenly rushed in with their parents. At first it seemed harmless, but soon their behavior became quite disruptive. The children started running in circles around the store, shouting and laughing as if they were in a playground. Some of them pulled clothes off the racks, and a few even hid under the display tables while chasing each other. What struck me most was that their parents were nearby, but they didn't intervene. They just kept shopping, almost pretending not to notice what was happening. Naturally, the atmosphere in the store changed. Many customers looked uncomfortable and annoyed. I noticed one woman shaking her head, and another person left the shop without buying anything. The store staff also looked troubled because they had to keep putting the clothes back in order while still trying to serve customers. Personally, I felt quite uneasy and even a little disappointed. I believe children will sometimes misbehave, it's natural, but in public places, parents should step in to guide them. Otherwise, it creates stress not only for other customers but also for employees. This experience reminded me how important discipline and education are. When children learn how to behave politely in public, it reflects positively on their families and even on society as a whole. IELTS Speaking Part 3. Misbehaving Children. Question 1. What bad behavior do children usually have? Model answer. Band 6 answer. Children sometimes shout loudly, run around, or fight with each other in public. They may also refuse to listen to adults. For example, I often see kids crying in supermarkets when they want something. Band 7 answer. Children often show bad behavior such as shouting, running, or arguing with their parents. They may also interrupt adults when they are talking, which is seen as impolite. For instance, I once saw kids throwing tantrums in a supermarket because they wanted snacks. This kind of behavior is quite common when children don't get what they want. Band 8 answer. Children's bad behavior usually includes being noisy, fighting with their siblings, or refusing to follow instructions. In public places, it often takes the form of tantrums, like crying and shouting when they want toys or food. For example, in Japan, it's not unusual to see children demanding sweets in a convenience store, and sometimes their parents give in. I think such behavior is natural to some extent, but without proper guidance it can easily become a habit. Question 2. How should parents stop their children from behaving badly in public? Model answer. Band 6 answer. Parents should tell their children to stop and explain why the behavior is bad. They can also distract the child with something else. For example, give them a toy or talk to them kindly. Band 7 answer. I think parents should calmly tell their children to stop and explain why their behavior is not acceptable. They should also be consistent, because if parents give in every time, children may not learn. For example, if a child cries for candy, the parent can explain that it's not healthy and suggest another choice. Band 8 answer. In my opinion, parents need to guide their children with both firmness and patience. It's important to explain why the behavior is inappropriate rather than just saying, don't do it. At the same time, parents should model good behavior themselves, because children often imitate adults. For instance, if a child throws a tantrum in a restaurant, the parent can calmly take the child aside, explain the situation, and perhaps set clear consequences. This teaches discipline without creating unnecessary embarrassment in public. Question 3. Are parents these days stricter than in the past? Model answer. Band 6 answer. I think parents today are not as strict as before. In the past, children had more rules, but now many parents are softer. For example, kids today can use smartphones freely, which was not possible before. Band 7 answer. I believe parents nowadays are generally less strict compared to the past. In earlier generations, children had to follow many rules and were often punished if they disobeyed. Now, parents focus more on understanding and communicating. For instance, children today are often allowed to spend more time on smartphones or video games, something older generations didn't experience. Band 8 answer. In my view, parents today tend to be less strict than those in the past, especially in developed countries like Japan. Traditionally, parents were more authoritative, emphasizing obedience and discipline. Nowadays, many parents prefer a more flexible approach, focusing on communication and emotional support. For example, while children used to be punished for misbehaving, modern parents are more likely to discuss the reasons behind rules. This reflects a broader social change, where independence and creativity are valued more than simple obedience. Question 4. Whose influence on children is more? Parents or their friends? Model answer. Band 6 answer. I think parents have more influence because they teach children from a young age. But when children grow older, friends also become important. Band 7 answer. I think both parents and friends influence children, but in different ways. Parents teach values, manners, and discipline, while friends affect how children speak, dress, or play. For example, children may learn responsibility from parents but copy their friends' hobbies. Band 8 answer. I would say that the influence depends on the stage of life. In early childhood, parents are the main influence because they shape values, behavior, and basic habits. However, as children enter school, friends play a greater role in their social development. For instance, in Japan, many students pick up slang or fashion trends from their classmates rather than their families. Still, I believe parents usually have the deeper and longer-lasting impact, because values learned at home often stay with children throughout life.
Congrats on making it to the end of this video, and kudos to you if you did all that practice. You are amazing. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below, and you can also add my official LINE account that's in the profile. And if you do this, then I can send you a free phrases guide that you can use for your practice. All right, happy studying. See ya.